to 3 teenagers from the KI congregation: Spencer Green, Max Caller, and Bryce Turner. In the year 2010, I had a doubleheader of epic proportions one day during my KI family trip to Israel. A guided tour of Yad Vashem in the morning, followed by 3 bar mitzvahs of boys from the KI congregation outside the walls of Jerusalem in the afternoon. The day's events represented a circle of life, except in reverse order. Death of human life, intellect, and potential at Yad Vashem in the morning, and a celebration of the lives of 3 young boys as they ascended into manhood in the afternoon. A contrast of life predicaments separated by 70 years. Both events filled with incredible memories, one filled with death that we can never forget, and one filled with life that we can never allow to be taken away from us. Our KI triple bar mitzvah service began overlooking the city of Jerusalem, outside the walls of the old city. A peaceful atmosphere existed on this special day, as it was the Shabbat. A lack of cars on the surrounding roads had created an ominous sound of silence that was pleasantly interrupted only by the melodic sounds of our cantor, I Am Frankel, leading us in song as the Torah unveiled in preparation for the 3 bar mitzvah services that were about to commence with 30 KI families in attendance. During this peace-filled moment, outside the walls of the old city, our world was literally rocked. Suddenly, and without any warning, we were being stoned by Arabs who were tossing baseball-sized rocks over the wall of the old city of Jerusalem directly upon us. As you can imagine, the rocks that rained down from above the walls caused immediate chaos, as all the KI families sought cover, trying to protect ourselves and our children. Some of us were hit and were bleeding. Little did we know that our experience was truly a metaphor for the country of Israel, a land inhabited by Jews seeking nothing more than peace, but surrounded by enemies seeking our destruction at every opportunity. As we sought refuge along the wall, we were forced to make the decision that would affect every one of the KI congregants that were present in Jerusalem on that day. Should we leave or should we stay? Should we leave this hostile environment where our lives are being threatened for the simple reason that we were Jews? On the other hand, how could we jeopardize our children's lives and continue the 3 bar mitzvah services with no protection from the evil that was being rained down upon us from above? We made our decision. We decided to stay and stand our ground and continue our 3 bar mitzvah services in defiance of the rocks that had been thrown down upon us by our enemies. Why? Because we felt an obligation to past generations of Jews to stand our ground and tell our enemies emphatically, we are Jews, and we will stand up to those who try to take away our right to express our Jewish beliefs. We moved to a safer place along Jerusalem's external wall and continued our bar mitzvah service until its rightful conclusion, in an incredible display of strength and unity from all of the KI community members who were present on that day in the year 2010. It was one of my proudest days to be a Jew. The contrast between the afternoon bar mitzvah services and the morning at Yad Vashem was overwhelming. One was a story about the elimination of youth, the elimination of potential, the elimination of hope. The other is a story about the blossoming of youth in a world with unlimited potential, a story about the present and the future. Showing the world that we will not be eliminated no matter how hard the Babylonians, the Romans, the Germans, Hamas, Hezbollah, and the Arabs have tried, we learned on this day that we will not only survive, but we will overcome the obstacles that our enemies have put in the way of the Jews. I was reassured by the way that the 30 KI families stood up and said in unison, through our actions, that we will do what is necessary to make the world a better place for our sons and our daughters as well as our Jewish brethren around the world. I have a favorite photograph from my trip to Israel in 2010. It is sunset at the Western Wall, later in the day after the conclusion of our bar mitzvah service. The sun is glowing off the Dome of the Rock in the background. I am standing with my arms around my two daughters, surrounded by thousands of Jews from around the world who are here to visit the Promised Land. I strongly believe that the destiny of my daughters and the Jewish people will be determined by what happens in this small plot of land in the Middle East that we lovingly call Israel, whose Jewish soul extends from the Golan Heights in the north to Eilat in the south, and whose Jewish heart resides steadfastly in Jerusalem. I conclude my story with a phase from the Bar Mitzvah prayer book, which I have in my hand, which we used on that memorable day in Jerusalem, 2010. May Israel continue to be the temple that magnetizes the loving eyes of Jews in all corners of the world. Long live the Jewish people. Shalom.